Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel. London is calling for Cristiano Giuntoli. While we are enjoying an end of week, a Sunday without Juventus playing on the field, Cristiano is working on his list and I have all the names here. Entry mercato, exit mercato, names that he will discuss next week when he will be in London. So if you love mercato, entry, exit, whatever, if you want to be up to date, remain on the channel, you will love that video. And then we go towards the second topic, Massimiliano Allegri. Controversial talk, because looks like since Friday, when Juventus has been banned officially from Conference League, the tifosi, or a part of the tifosi, are pointing fingers, not towards Juventus Football Club, but towards one man only, Max Allegri. With one competition only to play, no more excuses. You have to win the Scudetto. So two big topics that we will talk about in today's video after you putting that thumb up, maximum of like, yes, also on a resting day. On a Sunday, I'm asking you to go over these 600 likes. You know how important it is for the channel. And if you didn't yet, continue to subscribe to the channel because now we start. Juventini, before speaking about Cristiano Giuntoli, Max Allegri, let's go towards the actuality from LA. What happened yesterday? Well, we saw a new signing with the number 18 for next season, Owen Wilson. Of course, it's not a new signing. You know Owen Wilson. Everyone know the guy because he's a famous actor. He was yesterday in the training session observing, making selfies, talking with players, also sending a message through Instagram to the wife of Manuel Locatelli. He was really available. Fantastic Owen Wilson. Not only with the players but also with the supporters. And speaking with the supporters or about the supporters, yesterday was fantastic because Mike Armstrong, that a few weeks ago was promoted to Chief of Communication and Marketing, took his time for a meeting with the JOFC president from Northern America. Fantastic. Is it the season where Juventus more and more will get closer to the fans? We will discover it in the next few weeks, but looks like yes, it is now the moment that the tifosi and Juventus are going closer and closer and closer. In the meanwhile, of course, there was the training session, hard working, high intensity, serious work. And after the serious work, as usual, you go for the fun part. Because they did the part 2 of last year. Max Allegri against Dusan Vlahovic. And this time, Max, he called Gattone to join him in his team. Gattone with Max Allegri against the Serbian connection, Kostic and Dusan Vlahovic. If you didn't see it, please go back and watch it because it's super hilarious. It is super fun and I will not spoil who won because it's just fantastic. So go back. I love these moments after hard work. Then Juventus is not only thinking about LA, they are also thinking about the mercato. Yes, because Tognozzi and Manna didn't travel with the team, they are there in Italy continuing to work on an entry mercato. You will tell me, Beppe, which entry mercato? What are you talking about? Well, Juventus is working for the present, but especially the future, with 3 new signings. The one that we already knew, Bruno Martinez Cruz from Espanyol, 2006 born player, the one that probably most of you already heard about, especially after that Under-20 World Cup, the Uruguayan Facundo Gonzalez from Valencia, and then a new name, Gavi Gil. Who is that player? Also him, 2006 born player, also him from La Liga, Alaves, also him, a really young prospect, and also him, like the 2 other ones, center back with a left foot. You will tell me, Beppe, who are these players? We go to Transfer Market, we go on Google, we go on Wikipedia, we can't find not even a picture of these players, especially the first and the last one. And you will tell me, why are we taking time to speak about them? It's for the 2006, they are not ready to play with the first team. Hey ragazzi, remember 1.5 years ago when I told you and I spoke about Dean Huijsen, young player taken also from La Liga, from Malaga Youth Academy. That young player is now one that all of us wants to see in first team. So Juventus, they have that scout, they have that idea, they know the players before they are on YouTube with highlight and skills, they already identify them. So for that one, I really want to congratulate them. I don't know if the 3 of them will have a future in first team, but if there is something that Juventus is doing well, and we have the proven record about it, is investing in youth and being the first one in catching them. Kenan Yildiz, Sule, Barrenetxe, and so on and so on and so on. So congratulations to them. Now we are entering to the core of the video, of course, because we talked about Cristiano Giuntoli. London is calling. Well, he will have a huge mission, and that is now linked to what we heard on Friday. Juventus will play only one competition, Serie A, with Coppa Italia from January on, with really not a lot of games. I believe if you play all of them and you win the tournament, it's like 7 more games, 7 on top of 38. We are too much. A video that I made a few weeks ago when I told you that we were like 44 players. Arthur already left, Kulusevski already left, a few players went on loan, but we are still a lot. And now we want to go with an exit list of more or less 15 players. 15 players that needs to leave Juventus. Selling, that would be the fantastic part. Loaning, if we still believe in the people. If there are no other possibilities, like for example Arthur, that we were obliged to loan with the hope that he's doing well at Fiorentina so that they can take them. It's important because Juventus will miss a lot of money. We knew it. If you're looking at what Juventus was cashing in from participating to Champions League in the last 11 edition, well, it's 873 million euro. With last season, when we were out from the group stages, which is a total shame and a total disaster, even in that season you won 63 million. The time that Juventus cashed in the most was in 2016-17, when you reached that final for the second time in 3 years with 110 million entries. Well, that's a lot of money that Juventus will miss. We already knew about Champions League, now we also have the certainty of not playing Conference League. Juventus will need to cash in. And yesterday I was listening to Pochettino that was speaking about Chelsea. He said we are at the moment 29 players for the first team, which is way too much. The players that are not happy will have to be sold. Speaking about Lukaku, of course, for example, and other players. So imagine Juventus with so many other players, how many work Giuntoli will have in London. But before going to London, he will still talk with Massimiliano Allegri, with Max Allegri, to understand the players that are in LA, that are at disposal of Max. Who of them can potentially go on the market? There are some big names that are in Dobbs, like Szczesny, and you know it, he wants to stay. We trust him, good goalkeeper, but still with a huge salary. There is Cambiaso that played 45 minutes with Juventus against Milan that we want to continue to test, but has some requests, and we will go through that. There is a Weston McKennie, there is a Miretti, there is a still Moiskin that can possibly go out of Juventus, Ealing Jr. These players, they need to convince Max Allegri that they can be in that team of 25, 26 players that will remain at Juve. So a lot of work for Max to identify and to speak with Giuntoli, and then in the meanwhile, Giuntoli will travel to London. As you see in Corriere dello Sport below, Juve, Lukaku in 10 giorni, Juventus, Lukaku in 10 days, that's the deadline. I don't know, from Chelsea or for Giuntoli or from whatever or whoever, but 10 days is when we will know if Lukaku will be a bianconero, yes or no. So we'll have to monitor that. But Cristiano will have a lot of meetings. Yes, the one with Lukaku. Juventus really wants player on loan. It will be a kind of transition year in terms of the names that will go in entry, because we are missing a lot of money from this competition in Europe. So Juventus will have to sell, but in the meanwhile, without knowing who can leave, because we don't know about Zakaria, about Pellegrini, and so on, well, Juventus will have to take players, if we want to anticipate them, on loan. Talks with Chelsea that really want to sell them, so or they lower the price drastically, or they agree with us to go on loan. Juventus that is not obliged now, if they are able to sell all these players in the list of Giuntoli, to sell Chiesa and Dusan Vlahovic. I don't know if you checked or if you paid attention, because in the last few days we are not anymore speaking about Dusan Vlahovic and Chiesa with linked to other clubs that are certain to leave the club. Even Gazzetta dello Sport is not talking too much about it. Gazzetta changed their narrative in there is a plan to work with Dusan Vlahovic to keeping at Juventus. So pay attention, even with a Lukaku more. And that's why the name of Moiskin is maybe in doubt that he could leave. Maybe even a Milik. So attenzione. Then don't tell me, don't ask me what will happen tactically with Dusan, with Lukaku, I don't know. But that can be a possibility. More than speaking with Lukaku on loan from Chelsea, there is another name that is still in the entry mercato. Castagni from Leicester. That Leicester want at least 50 million euros. So Giuntoli will try to lower that demand. Another one, Freuler, because here we have to speak about Kessié. Kessié that Juventus really wanted. They also found an agreement on loan with Barcelona. Kessie that didn't play against Real Madrid, 0 minutes for him, that is confirming that he's out of the project Barcelona. Well, Kessie doesn't want to. He has other priorities, or remaining at Barcelona, even if he's not a starter, if he's not a rotational player, or going to Premier League, or even accepting maybe the huge money from Saudi Arabia. Returning to Serie A is not an option for him. You know what I'm saying? Grazie Kessie, it was nice to have your name linked to Juve for a few days, but I don't want you. Because you remember I told you, if he wants to, I'm going all in for that player. If he doesn't want to, no thank you. We already made the mistakes with the Arthur. Do you remember the Arthur saga? He didn't want to, he didn't want to, he didn't want to. At the end, we worked on convincing him and he joined Juventus, disaster. So no, if players doesn't want to come, no. And in that case, I prefer Lukaku, because Lukaku wants really to come. Speaking about not the player characteristic, striker, midfield. I'm speaking about the lust, the envy, the will, the grinta to come to Juve, to join Juventus. Anyway, we will speak about exit mercato, and exit mercato will be the decisive part if we want to go and sign new players. Zakaria, West Ham is in the agenda of Giuntoli. Ealing Jr., Everton, Aston Villa. The Winter, Everton, Lille in France. And the Toffees are on 2 players from Juventus. There is also Italian talk for the winter, Genoa, attenzione. Cambiaso, Nottingham Forest. So a lot of Premier League teams that have some money that can go on our players. Then you will tell me, Beppe, what are we speaking about? Ealing Jr., the winter, even Cambiaso. These are players that we want to keep. Why is Giuntoli speaking with clubs in Premier League? No, we don't want them. We don't want to sell them. Ragazzi, if we have at the moment more or less 40 players, that's why I told you that I was not happy to be banned from Conference League, because with one competition only to play, you have to reduce the team. You have to go towards 25 players. And at a certain moment, you are obliged to sell. Look, on the left side, how many players we have. If we are not able to find a solution for Pellegrini, if we want names to join Juventus, you have to accelerate. Of course, what I'm asking to Giuntoli is to keep the price high. Because if Atalanta is able to sell Højlund for 70 million plus bonus, that can possibly reach 85 in total, ragazzi, I don't want to sell Ealing Jr. for 10 million. You ask 25, you ask 30 million for that young prospect. If we want Cambiaso to leave Juventus because we need to cash in, because we want to keep Ealing Jr., then you ask 20 million, you ask 25, and not 5 million. And that's the important thing. I will be sad at the end of the mercato because probably because of some names that can't decide to leave Juve, and we are speaking about the Bonucci, and Alexandro, or Weston McKennie, and so on, we will be obliged to accelerate selling players that we didn't want to sell. Connie de Winter, if you want to keep Dean Huijsen, if you want to see him a few minutes this year with the first team, you can't keep everyone, and that's a real problem. So a big, huge work from Giuntoli. And now we go towards the second part, the most controversial part. A lot of supporters, tifosi, that are saying, Max Allegri, no more excuse, you need to win the Scudetto. I will tell you my opinion, it's an opinion only, then you can tell me I agree, Beppe, or I don't agree. I personally want to differentiate something. For me, it's not Max Allegri that no more excuse you need to win the Scudetto. It's Juventus Football Club, not one man only. Because you win together, you lose together. And that's already one thing that I'm not really happy about, when we are just finding an excuse, because we are telling Allegri no more excuse, but actually we are finding excuse to again put some hate on one person only, to put all the responsibility on one person only. And if we start like that, ragazzi, we are not there. Then, do we have more benefits with one competition only? Of course. You lower the injuries. You play once a week. That means that you are resting. You keep your energies. You should have less injuries. You have more time. You have whatever you want to. So a lot more benefits to go and win that Scudetto. We have a good team. We have a solid team. So you have all that it takes to go and fight for the Scudetto on the end of the year. Then, ragazzi, I don't agree with winning the Scudetto or no more excuse. First of all, because if you are looking at all the pages today, they are speaking about the mercato of Inter. In the last few days, they were speaking about the mercato of Milan. Milan, Renders, Pulisic, you know the names. Inter today is going with Samardzic. Look at the midfield of Inter. Barella, Fratesi, Samarsic, Mkhitaryan, Çalhanoğlu. It's a fantastic midfield. I don't like Inter. I want them to lose every single game. But let's be honest, the midfield of Inter is polyvalent. They have all the skills that it takes. For me, it's the best midfield in Italy. Lazio was a really great midfield. They lost Milinkovic-Savic, but here we are speaking about Inter with a fantastic, beautiful midfield that was finalist of Champions League. A bit of luck or not, who cares? They were finalists of Champions League last season. So if we are looking at Napoli, they are still having Kvaratskhelia, Osimhen. A lot of players remained at Napoli, except of Kim Min-jae. They are thinking they are title contenders. So Napoli, Milan, Inter, but they are playing twice a week. Could be. But it can also be that Milan will be maybe eliminated in the group stage this year. And then they will be back to Juve with one competition only to play. Could be, eh? You never know. It happened in the history a lot of time. Napoli, Inter, Milan. We don't know yet. We will have to wait until autumn to know it. Then, Juve beneficial? Yeah, I agree. But attenzione, because Juventus at the moment signed only Weah. We are still having problems with Dusan Vlahovic. He's not at 100%. He's not even playing the games. Pogba is still out. Fratesi is not at Juve. Rovella, that joined Juventus, is injured already. 2 weeks. They are maybe speaking about him leaving Juve, going on loan. They are not sure about his physical condition. And we still don't have the regista that we were dreaming about. We are still even thinking about keeping Nicolussi. But Nicolussi is not Samarsic, with all the respect. It's not Fratesi, with all the respect. So I'm not looking for excuses. Juventus needs to win the Scudetto. Needs to fight for winning the Scudetto. Then, one man only. No more excuse. I think it's a bit of stretch. My opinion, ragazzi. Then you tell me yes or no, I don't know. My opinion. I want to win the Scudetto. Again, I repeat, because otherwise people will tell me, Beppe, no excuse, whatever you want to. Fighting for the Scudetto, but no. Saying no excuse, I believe. It's a bit of stretch. Because last year, the distance with Napoli was super huge. We are taking the same basically with a Weah instead of a Quadrado. And we are playing again with the same injuries, with everything the same. Calma. Let's see. Let's see. Again, once a week gives beneficial. Ragazzi, that was it for me for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Grazie, forza. Juve.